Today, in the media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Organ Donation India Foundation, and Gyan. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic, whether it is COVID-19 or otherwise. Today, our topic is lockdown lessons of senior citizens. Before I will come to the topic, I would like to inform you that today is a International Men's Day. International Men's Day, IMD, is an annual international event celebrated on the 19th of November. The objectives of celebrating an International Men's Day are set out in the 6 pillars of International Men's Day. It is an occasion to celebrate boys' and men's achievements and contribution, in particular for their contribution to nation, society, community, family, marriage, and child care. The broader and ultimate aim of the event is to promote basic humanitarian values. Inaugurated in 1992 on 7th February by Thomas Oster, the project of International Men's Day was conceived 1 year earlier on 8th February 1991. The project was reinitialized in 1999 in Trinidad and Tobago. The longest running celebration of International Men's Day is Malta, where events have occurred since 7th February 1994. Jerome Tilak Singh, who revived the event, chose 19th November to honor his father's birthday and also to celebrate how on that day in 1989, Trinidad and Tobago's football team had united the country with their endeavors to qualify for the World Cup. Tilak Singh has promoted International Men's Day as not just a gender day, but a day where all issues affecting men and boys can be addressed. He has said of IMD and its grassroots activities, I quote, "They are striving for gender equality and patiently attempt to remove the negative images and the stigma associated with the men in our society," unquote. We wish all boys and men a happy International Men's Day. Today, we are also celebrating the World Toilet Day. World Toilet Day, WTD, is an official United Nations International Observance Day on 19th November to inspire action to tackle the global sanitation crisis. Worldwide, 4.2 billion people live without safety managed sanitation, and around 673 million people practice open defecation. Sustainable development goal aims to ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. In particular, target is to end open defecation and provide access to sanitation and hygiene. World Toilet Day exists to inform, engage, and inspire people to take action toward achieving this goal. The United Nations General Assembly declared World Toilet Day an official United Nations Day in 2013 after Singapore had tabled the resolution. Prior to that, World Toilet Day had been established unofficially by the World Toilet Organization. We sincerely hope that by observing World Toilet Day, more awareness will be created so that no one will be forced to practice open defecation. Now, coming to our main topic, and that is lockdown lessons of senior citizens. Age is a matter of mind, and if you don't mind, it don't matter. After a lifetime of working, raising families, and contributing to the success of this nation in countless other ways, senior citizens deserve to retire with dignity. A lockdown is a requirement for people to stay where they are, usually due to specific risks to themselves or to others if they can move freely. The term stay at home or shelter in place is often used for lockdowns that affect an area rather than specific locations. Something that the pandemic has taught most of us is the need to adapt. When the pandemic broke out in most parts of the world, no one knew how the coming days would unfold. But as the country went into a nationwide lockdown that ran into months, people realized that life would never be the same. The lockdown meant different things to different people, but for some senior citizens, it opened the doors to learning new life skills. Senior citizens is a common euphemism for an old person used in American English and sometimes in British English. It implies that the person being referred to is retired. This in turn usually implies that the person is over the retirement age, which varies according to country. Synonyms include old age, pensioners in British English, and retiree and senior in American English. Some dictionaries described widespread use of senior citizen for people over the age of 65. The COVID-19 lockdown changed the way we look at our world, an unprecedented global event that compelled us to pause our lives and stay in our homes. For some, it was the longest time they had spent with their families. It made us cautious of our surroundings and appreciative of our lives. Now, as we stagger back into normalcy, it is worth revisiting a few lessons from lockdown that we failed to learn, the lessons that we should have taken us with us back into the real world. And today, to discuss the lockdown lessons of senior citizens, we have a elite, experienced, knowledgeable, learned senior citizens with us as our panelist. So I would like to invite my first guest, and he is Dr. Rajiv Anand. Dr. Rajiv Anand is a senior psychiatrist and marriage counselor. Dr. Rajiv Anand passed his MBBS in 1976 and did MD in psychiatry in 1980 from King's George Medical College, Lucknow. He opted to serve his country when it was very common to settle abroad for a brighter future. He has been serving society with his base in Mumbai. He has clients all over India as well as in many other countries. He was honored with Lifetime Achievement Award by AMA. He has conducted more than 3,000 workshops for different groups and companies with audience size of 10 to 800. His television program on various channels have been widely appreciated for his forthright and practical approach. He is leading in the field of mental and emotional well-being for 40 years. He was president of IMA for 2 times. He was interviewed in several talk shows domestically as well as internationally. Welcome, Dr. Rajiv Anand, to our show. Dr. Rajiv Anand, as you know, that today's topic is the lockdown lessons of senior citizen. You yourself is a senior citizen, and the today's panel, all the panelists are senior citizens. And you are dealing with the mental health of the public or the people. And you are also dealing with the mental health of the senior citizens. So we would like to know from you the lockdown lessons of senior citizens. Dr. Rajiv Anand, please.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you, Mr. Lal, and welcome all the viewers from Karnataka, Kerala, UP, and Bihar through all those 6 channels who are tirelessly working to make this program popular, and Global TV, which is taking this program to other different corners of the world. And thank you to all the channels. Welcome all my fellow panelists, and very impressively, one of our panelists is from USA Today. Mr. Lal's program's popularity has crossed many boundaries that Mrs. Gulshan Gangwani had accepted to be panelists, and she here with us. And I'm looking forward to hear from you. Mr. Lal's lockdown lesson for senior citizens, if I don't speak anything at all, just say who can do better than you. You begin this program on 22nd March, and almost 8 months are going to be complete. That's the biggest lesson. You set the ball rolling by saying senior citizens, retirement. I beg to differ. This is a popular euphemism. The old people should retire from the life. No. They should renew themselves. They should relaunch themselves. They should rearrange their thought process. They should rearrange their value system. whatever has been so far in the life for last 55, 60 years, much of it is not necessary anymore in our life at present. Neither the branded clothes, nor the whiskey, nor tandoori chicken, nor lavish food, nor anything what had appealed to our senses. Senior citizens, I consider, is the most privileged position in the society and rare gift given by the Almighty God and the nature, as if you are on an all paid expenses holiday. Senior citizens is the best period of life when you have minimum responsibility and your well-wishers or your caretakers or your children or your other people in the they take care of you, provided provided, and I'm adding a big effort, provided we are constantly renewing and we are constantly updating ourselves. We are not having the mind which was there 15 years back, 20 years back. And that's where I keep on looking at the senior citizens' life from a different perspective. And there's a lot of possibility of making it better and better. Fortunately for all of us who are in that age group, irrespective of my dyed hair, black hair, I'm in the senior citizens without any qualms, without any hiding. All of us have had a wonderful time in the last 8 months. And some of you may wonder why everybody is crying, everybody is cursing, everybody is screaming, everybody has plenty of complaints about this and that. And I'm saying, no, this is the most wonderful time I ever had. I never felt bored even for a single day. I didn't have to yawn even a single day, though my God, what a time is there. Because this is the best time we ever had. As such, many of us have crossed that limit of being having the liability. I'm going back to Mr. Last statement that even though popularly we are called retired, but that retirement is from a fixed job where we have served 30, 35 years or so. I have been working for last 42 years, and I'm not talking about myself alone. Anybody who has been working 30, 35 years, 40 years need a break, need a relaxation. So the government or the authorities or the company or even your own self-employed people do need some time for themselves. So far, we have worked for the company, we have worked for the society, we have worked for the family, we have worked to bring them up. And life So rather than looking at the senior citizenship or senior citizens' time as a bad time or as an unfortunate time, घुटने में दर्द होता है, come on, these are minor incidentals of that age. We had many of these even in 30s, but we never attended to them. We never felt bothered by them because we had the momentum, we had the speed, we had the dynamism. Same thing is required now. What last 8 months have told us that we all blindly followed a stereotype philosophy of saving money for the rainy day, saving money for the old age. How many of us would spend that money? Money is lying. We have not, for months together, we have not used the wallet. For months together, we didn't wear the trouser to keep the wallet. For months together, we didn't open the money. And even if we take it in the hand, where to spend? So this was one of the biggest lessons given to us by power wheresoever. Money is not everything. For years together, we had not spoken to close relatives and friends because we were in a hurry for office or the work. And now we realize money does not matter, the relationship matter. For years together, we were sitting like censor board, not only of India, but of the world of the society, where we had cribbing, we had comment about anything and everything happening around us. Last 8 months made us realize this is a big movie theater, this is a big screen. You are not director of that movie. You can't edit it. You're just a viewer. Whatever is happening, let it happening. Enjoy it as a spectator. Your son, your daughter, you may claim that they are your son or daughter or son-in-law, daughter-in-law, grandchildren, whatever they are. But they are as much a part of that script written by some other power. They are also doing enacting their role as you are doing it. Watch it, enjoy it. And if you decide not to enjoy it, and if you decide to crib it and edit it and comment it and criticize it, then you are spoiling your own life. You are spoiling your own senior citizens here. These 8 months brought many of us sit down take notice. Life is not what we had thought so far that I should be taken care of. Everybody should focus on me. Life is not that my senses needs should be taken care of. No. Last 8 months has made us realize I'm as much equal component of the big scene of the big script called life as much anyone else is. Because very often it is seen by all of us that more than 50% senior citizens they crib or they complain because they miss what they had earlier and what they do not have now. And this is my request to every senior citizens who is listening to this program or other program conducted by Mr. Lal. Please look into, you still have much, much more than what others don't have. Whatever you had and whatever you don't have now, that is tiny in way of materialistic things. What you have now, the wisdom, the experience, the discrimination to separate what is non-essential to what is essential. Your family, your spouse, your kids, your relationship, your peaceful moments. You're having plenty of time to read, to listen to music, to spend time, quality time with your near and dear ones. And that's a big gift. So any part of the country or the earth wherever people are listening this program, they have need to review and revise and introspect and rearrange and relaunch and reinvent themselves. This is the best time. And last 8 months were a kind of a compact, condensed refresher course. Better do it now rather than living cribbingly for the next 10 years or 15 years, whatever life is left. So I'm a very strong proponent of this and program conducted by Mr. Lal tirelessly. And this is the best way of taking care of senior citizenship. Always are similar to that. So my request to everyone, don't take senior citizenship as a punishment. Don't take lockdown as a punishment. If ever lockdown come again, I would be welcoming it at whatever age. I'm more eager that other people listen to me. I'm more eager. I want to listen to my other co-panelists. So over to you, Mr. Lal.
And thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Rajiv Anand. And thank you for the compliments which you have given to me and my show. Yes, and that I will be commenting afterwards of what you have said about me. But what Dr. Rajiv Anand says is that this lockdown lessons for the senior citizens is a very, very remarkable, very enthusing or very enlightening. He is very clear in one way, and he rather deferred with me to refer the senior citizens as retired. He says this is the golden time for a senior citizen because whatsoever they have done in their life, now they are reaping the dividend of those works which they have done. And according to him, the first thing which the lesson which he has learned, which he wants that everyone might have learned, that during this last 8 months, he need not to use his wallet because there is no need for that. And that a lesson that the money is not everything. It is basically your relationship which matters. Secondly, you are just a part and parcel of the whatsoever things happen in universe. You cannot be cribbing for everything which we used to do earlier pre-COVID era. But in COVID era, we have no other option. So we cannot crib that this thing is not happening or that thing is not happening. According to Dr. Rajiv Anand, we are just a viewer, a spectator in a big is on and watching a movie on a big screen, and some director has which whosoever has directed the movie. And similarly about the children, whether your son, daughter, grandchildren, they are also enacting their roles, but everything is controlled by someone, some power. And Dr. Rajiv Anand is very clear in one way. He says this is the best time, which he himself, he says, I am enjoying the time. And in case tomorrow, although God forbids, if the tomorrow's the lockdown will come again, he will definitely welcome, because the quality time which he says I am spending during this 8 months, reading, writing, meeting people online, as well as spending good time with near and dears, is a remarkable thing, which is a very, very good lessons in the lockdown for senior citizens. So his appeal to all the senior citizens is, please enjoy this time. try to gain more and more knowledge and go ahead, but don't complain, because whatsoever complaint we were making earlier about the pain and these things, these are very minor things according to Dr. Rajivanand. It always happens, but you have to reinvent yourself. You have to see to it that mentally you should be totally prepared to face anything, and you can do many things if you are mentally sound. Thank you very much, Dr. Rajivanand, for giving your opening remarks about the senior citizens and the COVID-19 impact. Now, I would like to go to our next panelist. She is Miss Gulshan Gangwani. Miss Gulshan Gangwani, I will just say one thing, that we are very thankful to her because she is joining from USA, and the time there is past midnight. We are thankful that she has accepted our invitation, and in spite of the time, she is ready to give her views. So thank you very much, Ms. Gulshan Gangwani, for joining us. And Ms. Gulshan is a US resident for about 30 plus years. She works in a hospital in Pennsylvania as a respiratory therapist in mainline health. She has done BSc RRT. She is a certified in neonatal resuscitation and also in the pulmonary rehab program. Her hobbies are cooking, music, watching dance shows, and most importantly, learning spirituality. Welcome, Miss Gulshan, and I will say good evening to you, because here it is a morning, but it's a late night there. So welcome, Miss Gulshan. Miss Gulshan, you have heard what Dr. Rajiv Anand has mentioned, and he says that this is a best time of the anybody, and especially the senior citizens, because of the lockdown. What he has, according to him, all the senior citizens should enjoy this time. Now, you are based in USA. Definitely, USA, which is right now in a very, very bad condition as far as COVID-19 is concerned, because so many cases are there. And today I received a message from USA that they are planning to go for a second lockdown, imposing lockdown soon. Now, we would like to know, because you are also have faced the same lockdown things there in USA, the lockdown, we would like to know from you the lockdown lessons of senior citizens. Ms. Gulshan Gangwani, please.
Good morning to all the panelists and everybody watching. Thank you, Mr. Goel, and a special thanks to Dr. Rajiv Anand for inviting me to this platform. I will share my experience, strength, and hope with all of you regarding the lessons learned during lockdown. As Mr. Goel already mentioned, yes, I'm speaking from Pennsylvania in USA, and it's midnight and a very cold and a blustery night here. Before I share my aspects of the lessons learned due to lockdown, I will definitely agree that for seniors, it is always a golden age. They have finished their liabilities, and that is a time for them to take life and enjoy it. Mostly their liabilities are over. Getting back to the lessons, my views are a little different because I'm in a different country, in a different place, in a different position. So those things affect us a little differently. I will speak on a couple different aspects, my professional aspect and my personal views. At the professional aspect, I am an essential worker, so I am right in the face of the pandemic. The first lesson that I learned was the adaptability to change. Change was constantly occurring, and it was occurring very fast. Whether it was regarding treatment, whether it was donning and doffing of the PPE, which is the technique of wearing and removing the PPEs, rules and regulations, invasive or non-invasive procedures, making the patient lie on their back or on their stomach, so on and so forth. All these things were changing every day as news traveled from all over the world. And science took steps to see what was best for the patient. The second lesson that I learned was that there was too much panic and fear, but there was no time for it. and I had to plunge into it and face it. The only thing that I could do that kept me going was prayer. After that, the next lesson that comes was that for the first time, we realized that what it is not about what we want, but just to be grateful for all that we have. We had gratitude at its peak. People showered their gratitude generously. The hospitals received food. The cloth stores, even though they were shut down, were giving us cloth and elastic bands, giving it to people who could sew masks and caps for all the essential workers that were about. There were corporates that up to today are providing us with free coffee day in day out. In a country like US, there was things became unavailable, like the PPEs, sanitizers, detergents, paper towels, toilet paper, and most of all thermometers, and even basic necessities were scarce on the shelves. This created more panic, and that is why it was to be grateful for what we had was important. What I had, a home to come back to, food to eat, and most of all, being alive and well and being able to serve. That was what was part of my profession, part of an integrated part of growing up in India and being of service to the people. At a personal level, I would say, oh, before I go to that, I would like to mention that uh, I will be explaining to you how how we took care of being using cleanliness. At a personal level, I'm a single parent, I'm a mom, I'm a woman, and I do consider myself senior enough. I was like any other mom and any other hospital personnel. I was scared because I did not know what I was bringing back home. Most of us had family members who were elderly, and that was a big fright to all the personnel who were working, especially in the hospitals, right in between the patients. I would do anything to make sure that my children were safe. Luckily, I had my younger daughter who was still in the last semester of her college, and she had an apartment. So, unlike most people who had families get together and in the beginning months had the pleasure of having the company of each other, I, on the other hand, had to put my children out. I was so scared as a mom that I didn't want them to be at home. So I let them stay apart, and I was fortunate enough that we had an apartment where they could do so. Cleanliness is next to godliness, and health is wealth. As a child, I have learned those verbatim, and this was taught to us in school. Now, let me explain to you what our scenario was of us getting out of the hospital. After working a 12, 13-hour shift, at the end of the shift, it was mandated that we change our clothes. Not only that, every single thing for the incoming, before the incoming shift, would be wiped down. Tables, chairs, doorknobs, bathroom doors, every pen and pencil in my pocket, leave aside the stethoscope, the glasses that we wore as protective gear, everything, you name it, the telephones, our personal cell phones. We had Ziploc bags in which we carried our personal cell phones because in today's day, without technology, you are nowhere. And you had to have your cell phone along with you. So it was of immense importance that we clean everything before the next shift came in. Now, when we walked out, we wore gloves. We had to change our shoes. I had an extra pair of shoe in my car, which I would wear once I left the hospital. I would discard of the gloves that I was walking out of the department after I had gotten into the elevator, opened the garage doors. I would then discard the gloves and get into my car. When I entered my car, We can give you in writing more than 100%. Everybody who entered the house would enter as what is called as a leprosy term. We would walk in the back door, be shout, have a basket there for putting all our clothes in there, which we had used in the hospital. Undress, have a special basket for that, run up to a shower, get showered, and only then would we consider drinking a glass of water. So it took up a lot more time. Now, as a parent, that was frightening because I was coming home and, in spite of showering and keeping my clothes aside and not trying to touch anything, we have steps. You're running up the steps. You didn't want to hold the bolster. If I can tell you on a lighter note, every single faucet in my house, every single light fixture, every single kitchen cabinet handle, and refrigerator handles, microwave handles, you name it, all those were cleaning and sparkling more than what we were, more than our clothes. Because if my children came home, I was afraid that inadvertently, the basic necessities of life, when they opened or touched anything, I would not have any residue germs that I would have brought from the hospital. So this is a paranoia of a mom, of a woman trying to take care of her children, and this was universal. Nurses who had little children and who had elderly parents, they could not visit them. They could not go to the nursing homes, or they could not visit them in any of the hospitals or at their own residence. Lastly, I would like to comment about the ability to grow spirituality. I know for surety that nothing lasts forever, and this too shall pass. This was my motto. I could practice what I had learned, realizing and knowing that there is a higher power that controls everything. On another aspect, Mother Earth needed to be healed, and perforce, the whole world had come to a standstill. Prayer and gratitude were the two tools that I used the most. I would like to end with living in the moment, one day at a time, baby steps, putting one foot before the other, not projecting or worrying about tomorrow was the biggest lesson and accomplishment for my survival. This is how I survived, and how most of us here, senior citizens, took to. And I can tell you that creativity, like a coin has a head and a tail, creativity was at its peak. People learned to be creative in a lot of ways. And some started businesses from home. Those who were of strong mind and strong emotion could start businesses from home. And the flip side of the coin was that, yes, domestic violence and drug abuse really took a toll, because the police were no longer involved in being called or to come to the house. So that took a very big toll. And that was saddening to see. But there's always a silver lining to the cloud. And there were many good things that were to be learned. And people found potential within them, which normally they would not have. So thank you for letting me share. And thank you once again for having me on the show.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gulshan, for giving your uh, first-hand experience, as you are a Corona warrior yourself, because she is working in a hospital, and she, as she mentioned, and she has given details how different her experience is with other senior citizens, because she has to go to the hospital every day. And she says we have learned 2 3 points in our professional duty. One is the adaptation, that you have to adapt yourself. Once you are going to the hospital, the environment is totally changed. So for that, you have to be adapted. You have to be grateful and gratitudeful to all those things, because you are alive and you are seeing the things. And thirdly, which is very important, is that in spite of all the precautions you are taking, you have to take care of your own family. And for that, she said that she has to keep her children away from herself, just to safeguard them, because After all, when she's coming to the home, although she's taking full precautions, changing clothes, wearing a mask and everything, PPE, etc., but still infection can come to the home. So she says that for the those who are working for the corona workers, or those who are in the field of working in hospitals, their life is different than the ordinary person's life, because they have to take full precautions as far as the coronavirus is concerned, because they are reaching to the home and they are cleaning home. And she has described how she is doing the routine every day. And she says that the only thing which she has learned is the prayer, the gratitude, the spiritualism, which is very, very important to give you the mental satisfaction on the mental health in this difficult time. But she says that there are many who are of a strong head, that they have started their business during this time. And the flip side of this is that the drug abuse and the domestic violence has increased. But still, according to her, the God is great, and whatsoever is happening, we have to adapt ourselves, and we have to see to it that if we will pass this phase by showing the gratitude, learning more things, adapting ourselves, and doing whatsoever we can do at this time, it is a very, very great thing. And she says whatsoever is happening, but people are there, and according to her also, yes, it's a golden time for those who can enjoy this time, because the liabilities are over as a senior citizens. But only thing is, because she's working and she's working in a hospital, her experiences are different. Thank you very much, Ms. Gulshan, for giving you the first-hand experiences of a corona warrior, which we term here in India. For those who are frontline workers on the corona, hats off to you, salute to you, because of you people, our lives are saved. And we must give thanks to you, and special thanks to you that you have joined at this time, which is past midnight in USA, to give your views. Thank you very much, Ms. Gulshan, for giving your views. Now I'm going to invite my next guest, and my next guest is Mr. Ashok Jain. Mr. Ashok Jain is a successful businessman and philanthropist. To become successful in all aspects, one needs exceptional set of skill, which Mr. Jain has demonstrated throughout his life. Mr. Jain, as a person, is highly disciplined, punctual, enthusiastic, energetic, eager to learn, and leads to growth of self and others. He is successfully running printing and publishing business. He is a globe-trotter. Welcome, Mr. Jain, on our show. I can add only one thing about the punctuality. Yes, I can vouch for his punctuality. He was very first to join the show, because my own experiences last 8 months, which Dr. Rajiv Anand has mentioned, that senior citizens have the value for the time and the punctuality, which our youths have to learn. Although I'm sure that the youths are more intelligent than the senior citizens, but the punctuality they have to learn, which is lacking in youth, but not in senior citizens. Welcome, Mr. Jain, on our show. I would like you have already heard what Dr. Rajiv Anand and Ms. Gulshan had explained. I need not to repeat it again. Now, we would like to know from you the lockdown lessons of senior citizens. Mr. Jain, please.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Mr. Lal, for organizing such a versatile program, such an interesting program in this COVID time when senior citizens are in very different set of mind. To me, and also thank you to Dr. Rajiv Anand, Dr. Gulshan, for being an industry or in a business or in a profession which has really helped the mankind to come out of this crisis. Now, for me, this period has been a period of boom. I had a choice either to take it as a curse or as a boom, but I opted to take on a very, very positive note. And initially for a week, we were definitely in a dilemma, definitely in a very depressive mode, but then took charge of myself and and took responsibility as a business leader. What my learning during this time was that three things I learned is that self-aware, that every senior citizen should be first self-aware of his health, his fitness, his flexibility, his mental health, and his all the time to remain positive. That is very important, which I learned. Second thing which I found is that we have to be adaptive. Now, adaptive, this COVID has given us too many things to learn, too many things. Before the COVID, I was not tech savvy. Before that COVID, I was not a household man. Before the COVID, I was not a uh, fitness uh, person. Before the COVID, I was not a vivid reader. Before the COVID, I was not many things, but this gave me an opportunity to adapt the technology. I was hesitant first to learn technology from my son, and then I was hesitant to learn from my grandchildren. But believe me, today, both of them are so happy to help me managing a small, small thing. And 2 days before, my colleague working with me, she also taught me Snapchat, which I was not knowing how to use Snapchat. So this gave me an opportunity to adapt to many new things, not only technology, but to the environment. And it gave me opportunity to introspect and I and make me fit to take another 20 years of responsibility in this industry. As to on a personal note, this was an emotional period. We were in a fix as a businessman what to do with our industry, what to do with the people around us, what to do with 500 families who depend upon us. There were two choices, either to tell them, send them the message that it's a bad time, people, and we have no money, no businesses, no orders, and we have to shut the our industry, our companies. But I told once Dr. Rajiv Anand, he was wanting to talk to me and wanting me to participate in a program. Told him, Doctor, I will have no time. I'm just busy setting up my companies to restart because 500 people are depending upon me directly. I did not use a single word which was negative in tone. Every time, every minute when need to talk, I was just positive, giving them hopes, giving them all the opportunity to come out of this crisis. My company did not took we did not go for any salary cut, any wage cut, or any such thing which will make them depressive. So the whole thing for the senior citizen or for me or for everyone is that we have to remain positive in these kind of crises. Crisis would come all the time in life, but then we have to have a balance of mind. We have to empathize with the people all the time, with our environment, with our society, with our family. I also learned, I took this opportunity of learning cooking for myself to make myself more independent. And I never knew how to cook parathas or how to make basic vegetables and dal and rice. But this gave me an opportunity to learn things so that I can manage myself with minimum things and survive without any being dependent to anyone. Uh, I took yoga, I took physical exercises and made myself fit, lost about 7 kg or 8 kg of the weight, and created a sense of endurance in myself. So for me, this was a good opportunity to look the whole life in a very positive manner. This is what my take on the subject. Yes, I remember two great people talking about this issue. One is Dr. Atal Bihari Ji Vajpayee. He says, I am neither retired, I am neither tired, not retired. That was the most motivational thing which came to our use in this period. And I also remember once Martin Luther King saying, we must accept infinite disappointments, but never lose infinite hope. So be positive, be careful, have self awareness, keep yourself fit, keep your environment, help others to keep their environment fit, and whatever you could do, you should do. My take is this, sir.
Okay,
Thank
thank you very much, Mr. Jain, for giving your views. And Mr. Jain said that initially it was a very tough time when the lockdown started, because at that time the entire business was closed, and he was not he was not clear what to do. At that time, he learned about the, because he was not tech savvy, so he started learning the technology from his son, from grandchildren, and even the colleagues. And once he learned, and then the question was about the 500 staff employees, or those who were working in his company. And he said that was a very, very tough challenge, because he, being a philanthropist, and his nature, he never wanted to cut the salary. And it's not easy because the business was closed, everything was totally shut. But he or whenever he used to address them, he was very positive. He used to put their words so positively that they always feel enthused, and they are not being depressed, or they feel that yes, some good hopes are there. And time has started changing, and he said that one thing is very clear: one has to be very, very positive, mentally, physically. And he says, I have learned yoga, I am doing, I have lost weight, and I have learned cooking. So many things, lessons which he says earlier I was not having knowing those things, which I have learned during this lockdown. Although it was a tough time, but one have to be very, very positive. And he has mentioned about our honorable former Prime Minister of India, Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, is that I am neither tired nor retired. So he says, I always be motivated. He also quoted Martin Luther King also in this. And he says that one has to be very, very positive. And this is a time when, especially for the senior citizens, if they will be positive, then there is no problem, and every problem will go. Thank you very much, Mr. Ashok Jain, for giving your opinion and your views about the senior citizens, and what are the lessons they have learned from the lockdown. Now, I would like to invite my next guest, and he is Captain Sanjay Gupta. Captain Sanjay Gupta is a captain in Merchant Navy. He did DP advanced training from Lowestoft, London, and joined diving DVP ships. For last 32 years, he is serving on diving DP ships, which is working for many oil majors, mainly ONGC India. He has carried out major underwater operations, including major oil firefighting and rescue of divers trapped on sea bottom at 80 meters depth. He has received Bravery Award from DG Shipping of India and a letter of appreciation from IMO. Welcome, Captain Gupta, on our show. Captain Gupta, you have already heard what Dr. Rajiv Anand, what Ms. Gulshan, as well as what Mr. Jain has mentioned about the lockdown lessons of the senior citizens. Now, we would like to know from you the lockdown lessons of senior citizens. Captain Sanjay Gupta, please.
Namaskar to everyone. Thanks for having me here on this show. Now, first, I would like to give my homage to all the people who have lost their life during this pandemic, which was which happened to in every country, and we lost a lot of good lives, whether they were senior citizens or young. It did not spare anyone. Number two thing, that lessons I think everybody has learned, but people of different profession had faced different criteria, like doctors and nurses and hospital staff. They were having a tough time, and they were corona warriors. But there are many people who were working behind the scene, and they were actively involved, but they were not known to many people in our society, because of they were not front runners, like maids in the houses, those who were out of job, their survival was there, how to mitigate that. There were many, many challenges during this lockdown. So I will divide lessons and professions into a, like what I faced difficulty in my profession, being a merchant navy officer, and then I'll give you my what I learned out of it. So I started my career by joining Sea in 1974 through training ship Dufresne or Rajendra, what you call it today. It is called T.S. Chanakya, and it is land based. But in my time, it was all actual training on board ship. So having done my training, then I started as second officer, chief officer, and captain. In 85, I got a chance and I was introduced to the computer age in India. And I did my course in computer in 85 and I got addicted to it. In 1986, there I went to London to do my course and then I joined this DP World, which is very challenging job because whatever gas you are getting in the house, whatever natural resources you are getting today, oil, petrol, diesel, you name it, it's all coming through the oil industry from all over the world, whether it is in Saudi Aramco or whether it is uh, BP, Shell, they're all having their own oil fields and producing oil. But the biggest task became problem of a sudden. I was in Bombay. I arrived Bombay on 18th March, and because of the problem faced uh, because of this pandemic, started catching up in India. I had to return back from the last flight on 24th March without joining my ship, which I was supposed to be joining on 20th. So things were not, people were not ready, and things were all hanky dory everywhere, and a lot of things could not happen because people did not know how to react to that. Anyway, I think all have gone through it, so I'll cut short that. Finally, I could not join my ship. I could not join the duty. Now, flying back was a big challenge, and I managed to get a last flight on 24th before the flights were shut down, and total lockdown happened in country. So then I arrived at Delhi airport, no conveyance, nothing, zero. I had to get a driver, get my car from home, get it all the way to airport, and I got picked up. There was nobody at the airport. I got picked up from there, and I somehow managed to come back to Meerut with my own car. My son came to airport, and roads were deserted. When I managed to reach home after 2.5 months, 3 months, I got a challan from Delhi police that I was over speeding. When deserted road, you were over speeding. Now I'm getting challan. Anyway, the biggest problem what we faced in the this joining is that quarantine was a big problem because as per the rules, we had to do quarantine for 14 days, 7 days, and then again, since there was no way of going back to the ship, I was locked down till things started opening up in May. And then again, we tried to join the ship. A lot of efforts were put, but nothing could mature. So finally, I had to travel by road from Meerut to Bombay, which is about 1,530 kilometers away. So I went there by road, and unfortunately, I turned out to be corona positive. And Bombay Municipal Corporation immediately put me in a quarantine for 11 days in Mumbai, one of the hotels. And luckily, I did not suffer much, and I came out clean after doing 2 negative tests of COVID. I was allowed to join ship. Now, in this whole episode, my friend or my colleague who was in my absence was the captain of the ship, was stuck on board for 163 days, where we are normally do because of the such a hazardous job in oil field, we are only allowed to do 42 days on and 42 days off. But he had to do 163 days because he could not desert the ship. And there was no way we could stop the oil production or maintenance or suffer any loss to the nation because all the tankers which are bringing oil are all stranded everywhere in the world. There was no movement going on. So finally, I became negative, joined the ship. Again, what my colleague had faced hardship on board, I was also stuck up for 4 months on the ship. And the challenge was every time a new person comes, on board a ship, we have to make sure that my crew, which is about 80 people on board, do not get contaminated by any people joining the ship or coming on board for any specific work, or normal crew change, which is weekly, we do it. So there was a big demand of at the time to rise on the occasion and uh, do people sanitize, clean them on board, brief them the procedures, put them in quarantine for 7 days. If there's no symptoms, then doctor will clear him, and then we'll put him to work with all the other colleagues. So it was a time which I think every professional has faced in times of this. So having said that, that is still I am feeling that because of the India has opened up a little bit. DG has streamlined our shipping carrier streamlined, but the people who are working on the foreign shores or foreign ships are still facing a lot of difficulties because the crew is unable to join and relieve them. So I would like to, through this month, convey that the people have to have little bit soft corner for sailors and extend a help to them because they are the ones who are bringing all kind of food, grains, or whatever the stuff, big machineries, big plants, big businesses, whatever you say, all these things are being transported by the ship. And the sailors play a very, very important role, and they are the lifeline. Otherwise, you will not get the oil, you will not get the coal, you will not get the supply of any essential raw material or whatever you want. I think all the industry people must be facing the same problem because shipments are delayed. So this is our professional life, and there are many field workers who are unsung heroes. We don't fall in the category of corona warriors, but anyway, we are behind the scene, which we work. And today, because of this crisis and something I could face because of my close association with Dr. Rajiv Anand, he made me very, very strong to face any crisis. And another thing is that by profession, also since a demanding profession, you are always fighting against nature. Teaches me a lot to how to survive. Our survival instincts are much higher than the normal people. It's like people are in forge or people are in any industry like in fire department who are well trained to survive. Then after going through all these things, I think I was lucky enough because of the this period I survived. And lockdown, I did not take it as very seriously because I have seen my father getting locked down in certain age. I have seen my mother getting locked down in certain age. You have to take it as part of your life because sooner or later you are going to get you may have millions in bank, but who will draw them out from the bank? You cannot go to bank after certain age. You are already house arrest. You are barely able to walk. You are limited to your bedroom, to the dining table, and back again with limited exposure. So it's the reality of life that sooner or later God will lock you down. It was a man-made lockdown, but I've seen happening to many people that they could not leave the home after certain age. It all depends on your physical fitness, but sooner or later, everybody has to go to that phase. Having said that, then there are few things which I have learned is that I got addicted to the this OTT platforms, Netflix, you can say this Prime Time, all these things which cause me uh, wasting time. A lot of senior citizens like me who are happy-go-lucky-go sailors, and either we are drinking or we are wasting time on OTT platform. I will say that people, uh, I extend that thing to Gulshanji and Rajiv Anand that please try and do yoga, try and do some health consciousness programs, do at home whatever you can do to remain fit, and do not waste time on these OTT platform much because don't give you benefit. It's better read some books. Unfortunately, I don't read too much because I like people read and then tell me the gist of it, like Dr. Rajiv Anand. So I take benefit out of their hard work, and but same time this uh, expenses have come down. I agree with people. A lot of people say that pocket purse did not have to open and all things. But then there are people who of my age who are still not very familiar with computer age. But I think they should get, like, luckily my wife, I could teach my wife to pay by card and by using the e-payment system. So I will encourage all the people who are listening to it, especially the senior citizens, that please learn a little bit about computer. Try and go learn the training like Zoom. First time I used the Zoom today by hit and trial on this platform only. Installed, downloaded the Zoom on the laptop, and installed it. And I'm talking to you. It's a good medium. And then again, I gained a lot of weight during this pandemic because by eating odd times, no regular routine. But I don't think you should do that. You should maintain your routine, eat regular time, and eat limited, whatever it is. Don't get carried away by those cold drinks, ice creams, and all those things which give you extra weight. And there are many issues, but personally, I was this thing. I wasted my this lockdown period. I did not learn much except that I enjoyed my life, which I could not enjoy at sea or on board ship. So thank you very much. I think that's good enough.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Gupta, for giving your experiences, because you being on the ship, and he has explained how difficult it was because of the lockdown, and he was stuck, and he has given all the details about that. But one thing which he has mentioned, which is really a very enlightening to all of us, he said that this is a man-made lockdown, but what about the those who are senior citizens who or those whose age are more than 75 or 80 years? They are also under lockdown many times. They are stuck to their bed because they cannot move out because of their ill health or inability to go out. And that time, so according to him, everyone has to come for a phase when there is a lockdown. One can, not everyone, but people may face at that time money, whether you might be having millions of rupees in your bank, it is of no use. So it is time one has to enjoy, but the enjoyment doesn't mean that you will go for OTT platform frequently or drinking or and eating more, but you have to go for yoga or those types of things, so you keep yourself fit, and so that you will be able to be in a healthy and mentally healthy position. And he also mentioned one thing, that the civil society should honor, appreciate the work of sailors, because sailors' life is very difficult, and they are whatsoever essential goods which we are getting during the lockdown, whether it's a oil, whether it's a food grains, or whether anything, including the medicines also, are being shipped mainly by the ships, and the sailors were the persons who are bringing them. So we must also honor them as a corona warrior. And he is very clear that everyone has to be mentally fit and try not to do something which will harm your body or harm you mentally. Thank you very much, Mr. Gupta, for giving your views as far as the lockdown and giving your experiences, which is a totally different. And today we have seen that different experiences, one from the doctor, a psychiatrist, the other is she is a frontline corona warrior working in a hospital, third is a successful businessman, how they have faced the lockdown, and the fourth is a person who is on the ship and who is doing those works which are very risky, and what he faced during the lockdown. Now my question is to you, Dr. Gupta, sorry, Dr. Rajiv Anand. Dr. Rajiv Anand, you are consulting lots of patients nowadays also, because whenever I am calling you, you are on a online consultation. So I'm sure that it's a golden period for you, monetary wise also. But my question is, during this lockdown period, what is your experience? Which type of patients, senior citizens, young, children, or middle-aged, who consulted more to you, and what are the problems which senior citizens has explained to you, more, which were not there before COVID. Dr. Rajivanand, please.
Yes, sir. I believe I'm audible.
Yes,
I'm
please.
unmuted. Mr. Lal, very, very valid question, because this period of last 8 months had been a mini, not mini exactly, rather more than mini storm. Like using the Captain Sanjay Gupta's analogy or his profession, there was a big tornado on the ship. Everything was so topsy-turvy, everything was so rough. So everybody has to face the demons. Everybody has to face the crisis, emotional crisis, social crisis, financial crisis, interpersonal crisis. And most were not ready for it. Be it senior citizens, be it kids, be it young men in love with each other, be it married people, be it anyone for that matter. Most didn't have any preparation how to cope up with that. So most were on the verge of breakdown. Most commendably did manage to survive and did not have breakdown. Yet some of them did. Those who did got an opportunity to look inside and realize whether they had really cared for their own emotional grounding, their own emotional reserves, their social bonding, emotional bonding, and their spiritual reserves. In the fast paced life of working 10 to 5 or earning money or doing our duty, perhaps most of us had forgotten earning money is not everything in life. Earning being spiritually rooted, earning being bonded with our near and dear ones is equal wealth. Those who had this insight did survive. Those who did have less of it had difficulty in surviving. Those who had nil of it went in major crisis. We have received calls from all ages, including 5, 6 year old kids. Their parents have been in trouble. The parents who have one or two children at home, they have been in trouble. People who have been engaged or carrying out love affair, they have had crisis of missing out supply of the energy from each other. Married people who found they were not used to being 24 by 7 on each other's neck or each other's throat or each other's chest verbally. And the senior citizens who were deprived of not only the fresh air and the walking opportunities or meeting with their friends and so on and so forth. That's where I say again, this was a major learning lesson for each one of us. We are better prepared for the future. Over to you, Mr. Lal.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Rajiv Anand, for giving your views. Now, my question is to Ms. Gulshan. Uh, Ms. Gulshan, my question to you is, as we have seen the media reports, which says that the Pfizer has already come out with the vaccine, which is they are asking for the emergency certification. Once they will get the permission, they are hopeful to start vaccinating people before Christmas in USA, which was the latest report which I have seen today. Uh, what is your take? Because in India, the what we have heard is that first the vaccine will be given to the frontline workers or the corona warriors, and then the senior citizens who are up plus 65 or those who are having some elements or this with the age. Now, do you think this is going to help stopping, because you being in a health sector and you are watching what is happening every day, do you think it will help to stop this pandemic? And senior citizens, once they will get the vaccination, what about the children? Because I was told, you can give your expert opinion, that even if I being a senior citizen, if I am vaccinated, I will be safe, but I will be carrying the infection. If I will get the infection, I can pass off the infection to the youngers or those who are not been vaccinated. So, well, because you have raised the main very important point that you cannot meet your children or those who are working in the hospitals. They have to be away from their family even after getting the vaccination, whether the workers or the hospital workers will be able to meet their family or not? Ms. Gulshan, please.
That was my choice. It wasn't that everybody can afford to do that. I was fortunate enough, and because of my own paranoia, as I would say, I chose to do that. As far as the vaccine is concerned, to be really honest with you, it's up in the air. Though they say 94.5% because of the two drugs, some say 90%, and some one of which says 94.5%, it should be good. We have to wait and watch. This vaccine was produced in a very big hurry. We have seen before that the flu vaccine that we take is barely 40-50% applicable, and that too every year, whether it's going to be influenza A or influenza B, nobody knows. So it's a chance that you take. So yes, that all the people who, it's in US mainly, it's the younger generation that does not want to wear masks, cannot stop themselves from meeting people, and are healthier more so compared to senior citizens, because senior citizens have a lot of comorbidities which are enhanced with corona, so they get the opportunity to get sick is much higher. Now, whether the vaccine is going to work or not, that is quotes, I would say, in quotation, that's a guinea pig trial. We have to wait and watch and see where we go with it. Hopefully that the results that are shown have been proven to be pretty decent, and that should help. They have many questions as far as it has been published. They do have a lot of questions regarding whether it will be effective in very serious conditions. I am also concerned that with senior citizens having a lot of more comorbidities, whether it will be as effective or not. And we have to just wait and watch. We just have to wait and watch. There is no guarantee. And as far as I can see, and what we hear in the hospitals, coronavirus is here to stay. It is going to be there. It will be like, for all of us, we feel that sooner or later it is going to be mandated for us, that we will be dealing with it every year, that you have to take this vaccine, or depending on the time frame that has come out for the vaccine, how long it is going to be effective. According to that, we might have to take the vaccine regularly and go go from there. So right now it's too early. It has not been approved as yet. It will.
Sorry, yeah.
More than likely the FDA will approve it quickly and will start using it. So we will have to see how it goes. Also, the ethnicity, the race of different people, how it affects different people in different aspects of life is another concern, because it can be good for Caucasians and it may not be good. Something can be good for Caucasians but may not be good for Asians. Something can be good for children but may not be good for senior citizens, or vice versa. So we have to wait and watch. I think there are too many ifs and buts at the moment. Thank you.
Yeah. Uh, Hello. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. See, thank you, Ms. Gulshan, for giving your views that we have to wait and watch. We have to see what is going to happen with this coronavirus vaccine. Now, my question is to Mr. Ashok Jain. Mr. Ashok Jain, your experience says that the senior citizens can learn everything at this age, and you have proved yourself by doing all those works successfully in your business. Now, my question to you is, do you think we must increase retirement age of whatsoever we have right now of 58 or 60 years to 65 years in India also? Because in many countries, they have the retirement age of 65, but in India, we have 58 or 60. Only for few posts like the judges of Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of Supreme Court, they have the age of 65. And for politicians, yes, there is no age limit. They can work up to 100 years also. But what you think that for the employees, general employees, the general public, the age should be increased from 60 to 65?
Uh, Mr. Lal, this is a very generalized question and involve the serious HR discussion on the matter. See, it depends upon the agility of a person, whether he should be retired or not to be retired. As far as the government is concerned, government has to churn lot many employments, give opportunity to young people for the jobs. Government have to retire people at a certain age. But the individual who is being retired, whether by the corporates or by government or by any system, has to take a call upon himself whether he declare himself as a retired person. When you retire from a government job or a corporate job, you can always reinvent and re-engineer your capacities to deliver. In that sense, yes, system has to retire, system has to do economically, because you are not affordable sometime and certain age at a certain money. But individually, yes, one should not retire. As far as I'm concerned, I've given myself an extension of 25 years to work. If God helps me with my health, I would declare a retirement at the age of 86. So 25 more years to go for me. So that's an individual call, whether to retire or not to retire. But I would suggest, if you remain all the time in positive company, in a very positive environment, and avoid people who have a negative tendency, avoid negative media, again, avoid negative newspaper reading, probably anyone, even if the system retired, he need not to retire. One should find avenues, one should continue find avenues to keep engaged financially. You may not need money. Dr. Rajiv Anand may not need money, but he can earn a lot of money and can give it to me for charities. I will reach it to tribals.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Jain. I'm sure Dr. Rajiv Anand will definitely oblige you. Now, my question is to Mr. Gupta. Mr. Gupta, do you think, because you have narrated your how it was very difficult at that time during the lockdown, do you think the government has not given the support which they should have given, as you have mentioned your case, or the captain who was there, who was supposed to be there only for 42 days, but he has been extended to 160 or odd days. Don't you think there is some system failure which should have not been done? After all, it's a hazardous work which you people are doing, and extending from more than 42 days, it's definitely going to harm physically, mentally the person who was doing the work. So do you think the more proactive work should be done from the government side? Some lacuna was there which they should have not done it. What you say about this, Mr. Gupta? Please unmute yourself.
Yeah, I've heard everything, and I think it's a big political thing, and I won't like this platform to use to reach to government. But certainly, thing is that we have our own Director General of Shipping, who control the entire shipping of India, and then we have regulatory authorities, IMO, like I mentioned that. There are things were in place, things are still in place, but as in India, Meerut police does not know what is shipping is. They do not know what DG shipping is. They don't recognize, they only know superintendent of police, they only know DM, they only know prime minister, they know minister, they know everybody except a common man. They don't know common man. For them, everybody is a common man. Whether even if you are a doctor, they have thrown doctor out. You are not required. We need government doctors. Even the doctors are put behind. I have got so many doctor friends in Meerut. By virtue, my father was a doctor in this town, and I got a lot of doctor friends, but they were not allowed. They were not even given the e-pass. He said, why you need a e-pass? You are not supposed to practice. Is our government doctors will do. So same scenario was there in everything, the lack of coordination on the road. The people were out on the road. It was become unsafe to travel road. Planes were shut down. So those rules were there, but how to commute, how to go to Bombay from Meerut, or the people who are sitting in France or in a port in Bombay or sit in port in anywhere else, that different countries were having different rules. So it was all a surprise to everybody. So what I'm saying is lockdown is a lesson to learn, and I have few point suggestions to make here through using your platform. Number one,
For suggestion, I am just coming to the next round, Mr. Gupta.
yeah,
Next round is for suggestion only. Now,
yeah.
I would like to go to Dr. Rajiv Anand. Only in 30 seconds or maximum 1 minute, your suggestion to government and advice to public, especially the senior citizens, if any. Dr. Rajiv Anand, please.
I have done it in the earlier program also. There's so much of electronic media is showing so much news and very often negative. Have 15 seconds or 30 seconds glimpses or some tips or some exercise or some talk by a doctor, 15 seconds, like what we are doing right now. That if all of us don't forget to do yoga or don't forget to do breathing or pranayama, it would go a long way in helping us and helping our near and dear ones. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Ms. Gulshan, your advice to senior citizens. Uh, uh, please unmute. Yeah.
Yes. Quick recap would be that first of all, washing your hands, and washing your hands not with sanitizers, but with soap and water. Very important. Secondly, I think I'm a believer of definitely not just IQ, but EQ. And EQ comes by leading a spiritual path. If your internal if you're internally strong, then you can face everything out externally. So that would be my suggestion to the senior citizens. Get yourselves more tuned in to something that is going to be a lot more with meditation, prayer, exercise, all of those combinations, rather than watching Bollywood or Hollywood.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gulshan. Mr. Ashok Jain, your suggestions to government, if any, or advice to senior citizens, and if any, please unmute yourself. Please unmute. Mr. Jain, please unmute.
Yeah. Government has done
Yes.
wonders. The government and administrative system has done wonders, and I feel I have a lot of sense of gratitude to all the government officials who help us to come out of this crisis. And as far as my message, that I will request senior citizens to connect with charities, connect with NGOs. If you can give your time, give your time. If you can share your knowledge, share your knowledge. Whatever, if you have old books, if you have unutilized equipment, if you have unutilized cupboard, give it to the people who need them most, and try to give back to the society, the way of gratitude.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Jain. Mr. Gupta, your suggestions, please. Please unmute. Please unmute, Mr. Gupta. Yes.
I've done it. I've done it. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Okay, I would like to take lead from Mr. Modi, our Prime Minister, and who is doing a very good job for this in this pandemic, the way he has handled it, the scenario. I think we are the least sufferer. So I encourage his local for vocal. So we don't have to depend on shipping or any other transport. So try and do more local things, that everything is available in local markets. Then another thing, that preserve our resources. We waste a lot of water, we waste a lot of food, we waste a lot of everything in marriages, everywhere. Please preserve that. Another thing is that social media. It's since we are locked down and in the home, nothing to do. Do not indulge in too much of social media, because your post may offend somebody, which I have done it a couple of times, offended people.
Okay.
Because people are in a different frame of mind.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Gupta, for
And last one thing is, I would like to convey to Modi or everybody else, please make military 6 months military training like US has or other countries have, so that they are physically, mentally strong, and they are
Okay.
automatically disciplined sheep.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very
Today
much.
you have thank you. So today you have seen the challenges and the lockdown lessons of senior citizens and different from different parts of India as well as abroad, and they have given their own their experiences and the lessons they have learned. And I'm sure that today's program is very enlightened, not only for senior citizens, for even for youth, and because they know how the senior citizens in the during the lockdown has faced the problems, or they have learned many new things. Thank you very much for watching and giving your views. Today's program, which has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, News Gaon se Samvad Saroskar News, as well as it was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor is to bring to you every day a new topic. And tomorrow, media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. Our topic is IPL success with COVID challenges. Yes, you might have seen the IPL has taken place in UAE successfully. And that our guest is Mr. Surinder Khanna, member, Indian Premier League IPL Governing Council, former international cricketer from Chandigarh. And Mr. Khanna was present during the IPL in UAE. He will be narrating his all the things, what has happened, what were the challenges IPL has faced, and how they have overcome. So the first-hand information or first-hand narration of the IPL challenges you are going to listen. And we have another guest. He is Wing Commander Arjit Ghosh. He is a former Ranji Trophy cricketer, coach and match referee, former Secretary, Air Force Sports Board. So both will be joining tomorrow with me at 10:30 a.m. So thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Rajiv Anand. Thank you, Ms. Gulshan. A special thanks to you because you are joining at this time, which is almost now 1:30 a.m. in USA at your place. And thank you, Mr. Ashok Jain, and thank you, Mr. Sanjay Gupta, and thank you all the viewers for watching our program.